Good morning, hoops and hockey fans, or good afternoon if you're in the Eastern time zone. Big Al here on this Monday, March 13th, 2023, and welcome to another check of the NBA and NHL standings and playoff races as we look at those numbers through March 12th. All right, one team in the NHL has already locked up a playoff spot, while three teams in the NBA have been eliminated from playoff contention, and I'll run you through all of it. Okay, here we go with the NBA standings through Sunday, March 12th. And we will begin in the Eastern Conference, where the Boston Celtics no longer have the Eastern Conference's and the NBA's best record, but they're still pretty good. They're 47-21. Win percentage is .691. They are 6-4 in their last 10 games, including 2 straight wins. In second place and hot on their heels are the Philadelphia 76ers, and I use hot as a literate term. They're 45-22, winning percentage .672. They trail Boston by 1.5 games, and then I mentioned they're hot. They're 7-3 in their last 10 games, including 5 straight wins. Tied for third virtually are the Brooklyn Nets and the New York Knicks. Brooklyn is 39-29, win percentage of .574, 5-5 in their last 10 games, including 2 straight wins. New York is 40-30, .571 win percentage, 7-3 in their last 10 games, including a victory in their most recent game. Both are 8 games behind the Celtics. Sitting in last place in the Atlantic, the Toronto Raptors, 32-36, winning percentage of .471. They are 15 out of first place and pretty much out of the division title race at this point. 5-5 record in their last 10 games, including 3 straight losses. The new top dog in the NBA record-wise resides in the Central Division, and that's the Milwaukee Bucks. 48-19, winning percentage .716. 8-2 in their last 10 games, including a loss in their most recent game. A very distant second are the Cleveland Cavaliers, 43-27, .614 winning percentage, 6.5 back of Milwaukee, 5-5 in their last 10, including a win in their last game. And even further third place are the Chicago Bulls, 31-36, .463 winning percentage, 17 games behind Milwaukee. They're pretty much done as far as the division is concerned. 5-5 in their last 10, including back-to-back wins. Fourth place are the Indiana Pacers, 31-37, .456 winning percentage. They are 17.5 games behind the Bucks. 6-4 in their last 10 games, including back-to-back wins. And sitting in last place and officially out of the playoff race, the Detroit Pistons, with an NBA's worst 15-53 record. That's 15-53. Equals out to a .221 winning percentage. They are a whopping 33.5 games behind the first place Bucks. 0-10 in their last 10 games, including an 11-game losing streak. The Southeast Division appears to be a 2-team race between the Heat and the Hawks. Miami still leads the Southeast at 36-33, .522 winning percentage, 4-6 in their last 10 games, including a loss in their most recent game. Meanwhile, Atlanta's keeping pace. They're at 34-34, which is a .500 winning percentage. They are just a game and a half back of the Heat, 5-5 in their last 10 games, and they also lost their most recent game. Third place are the Washington Wizards, and they're kind of slumping right now. 31-37, .456 winning percentage, 4.5 games back of Miami, 3-7 in their last 10, including 3 straight losses. Fourth place are the Orlando Magic, 28-40 with a .412 win percentage, 7.5 games behind the Heat, 4-6 record in their last 10, including a win in their last game. And sitting in the basement of the Southeast, the Charlotte Hornets, 22-48, 314 winning percentage, 14.5 games behind the Heat, 5-5 in their last 10, including back-to-back losses. Over to the Western Conference, the Memphis Grizzlies have a pretty big lead still in the Southwest Division, 40-26, 606 winning percentage, 604, or rather 6-4 in their last 10 games, including back-to-back wins. In a distant second, you have the Dallas Mavericks, 34-34, 500 win percentage, 7 games behind the Grizzlies, 3-7 in their last 10 games, including back-to-back losses. In third place, the New Orleans Pelicans, 33-35, 485 winning percentage. They trail Memphis by 8 games, 3-7 in their last 10, including a win in their most recent game. The fourth and fifth place teams in this division are both eliminated from playoff contention. First up, you have the fourth place San Antonio Spurs at 17-50, which is a 254 winning percentage. They are 23.5 games behind Memphis for first in the Southwest, 3-7 in their last 10, including a loss in their most recent game. And the last place, Houston Rockets, also eliminated from contention, sitting at 15-52, 224 winning percentage, 25.5 games behind Memphis, 2-8 in their last 10, including 3 straight losses. In the Northwest Division, which is nowhere near competitive unless you're second through fifth, the Denver Nuggets are running away with things at 46-22 and a 676 winning percentage. They own the Western Conference's best record. They are 6-4 in their last 10 games, but they have been scuffling lately, losers of 3 straight. In second place, you have the Minnesota Timberwolves, 34-34, 500 winning percentage. They are a full 12 games behind the Nuggets, 4-6 in their last 10, including back-to-back losses. Tied for third are the Utah Jazz and the Oklahoma City Thunder, both 33-35. Winning percentages are the same at 485. Both are 13 games behind Denver. Both are 5-5 in their last 10, and both have won back-to-back games. And the Portland Trailblazers round out the Northwest Division, 31-37, 456 winning percentage. 15 games behind Denver, 3-7 in their last 10, including 3 straight losses. The Sacramento Kings are still atop the Pacific Division at 40-26, 606 winning percentage, 8-2 in their last 10 games, including 3 straight wins. Second place are the Phoenix Suns, 37-30, 552 winning percentage. They trailed the Kings by 3.5 games, 7-3 record over their last 10, including a loss in their most recent game. Third place are the Los Angeles Clippers, 36-33, 522 winning percentage, 5-5 record in their last 10, including 3 straight wins, and they are 3 or 5.5 off the pace behind Sacramento for first. Slightly below them in fourth place are the NBA champion Golden State Warriors, 35-33, 515 winning percentage. They trail Sacramento by 6 games. They are 6-4 in their last 10, including a victory in their most recent game. And rounding out the Pacific Division are the Los Angeles Lakers, 33-35, 485 winning percentage. 8 games back of the Kings, 7-3 in their last 10, so they're playing very well, despite losing their most recent game. All right, as you know by now, the top 6 teams in both conferences make the playoffs. 7 through 10 in both conferences go to the play-in tournament. We'll start with the East first, where the Bucks have taken over the top spot in the East at 48-19. 1.5 games clear of the Boston Celtics, who held that top spot for much of the year. They're down to the number 2 spot at 47-21. And it's getting a little antsy, if you will, for the Celtics, because the number 3 seed, the Philadelphia 76ers, are not only closing in on Boston for the top spot in the Atlantic Division, but the top spot in the Eastern Conference overall. They're 45-22 and just 3 games behind Milwaukee for number 1. The 4 seed at the present time is the Cleveland Cavaliers, 43-27. They are 6.5 out. Based on winning percentages, Brooklyn would be the number 5 seed at 39-29, 574 winning percentage. New York would be the number 6 seed, 40-30 at a 571 winning percentage. Both are 9.5 outs of that top spot. The Knicks have 12 games left on the schedule. The Nets have 14 games left. The 4 teams that would make the play-in tournament are the Miami Heat at 36-33, the current Southeast Division leaders. They would be the number 7 seed. The closest team to them in that division would be the Atlanta Hawks at 34-34. They are the number 8 seed right now. The number 9 seed would be the Toronto Raptors, 32-36. And the number 10 seed would be the Chicago Bulls, 31-36. On the outside looking in, you've got Indiana and Washington, both at 31-37, trailing Chicago by a half game for 10th. Orlando at 28-40. They would be 3.5 games out. Charlotte at 22-48 right now sits 10.5 games out. And as I mentioned, Detroit is eliminated at 15-53. No chance at them making the playoffs as they are 16.5 out with only 14 games remaining on their schedule. In the Western Conference, it's pretty much a runaway. The Denver Nuggets, far and away the top team in the West at 46-22, although they haven't played like it recently. The Kings and Grizzlies are in a tie for second at 40-26. As of right now, the tiebreaker would go to Sacramento. That would put the Kings at number 2 and Memphis at number 3. Phoenix is the current 4 seed at 37-30. Then it's the Los Angeles Clippers in the 5 spot at 36-33. And the reigning champs, the Golden State Warriors, in the number 6 spot at 35-33. All right. Minnesota and Dallas are tied at 34-34. The tiebreaker would go to the T-Wolves, which would put Minnesota at number 7 and Dallas at number 8. Those two would be in to the play-in tournament. And then you've got 4 teams battling for the final 2 spots in the play-in tournament in the West, as the Jazz, Lakers, Thunder, and Pelicans all have 33-35 records. Based on the tiebreakers, Utah would be the number 9 seed. Los Angeles would be the 10 seed. They would both get in. Oklahoma City and New Orleans, if the season ended right now, would not be in. Nor would the Portland Trailblazers, who are 2 games out of that 10th spot. Meanwhile, both the Spurs and Rockets are officially eliminated from contention. San Antonio at 17-50 currently sits 15.5 games out, and Houston at 15-52 is 17.5 games out. And Portland, I didn't mention, is 31-37. Those are the NBA standings and the playoff races through March 12th. Now let's turn our attention to the National Hockey League. In the Eastern Conference, the Boston Celtics running away. Why did I keep saying Celtics? We're talking hockey now. Anyway, the Boston Bruins running away with the Atlantic Division. They are in the playoffs officially. 65 games played, 50, 10, and 5 for 105 points and 48 wins in regulation or overtime. A very distant second, 10 fewer wins than the Bruins, are the Toronto Maple Leafs. 65 games played, 40, 17, and 8, 88 points, all 40 wins in regulation or overtime. Third place are the Tampa Bay Lightning, 67 games played, 39, 22, and 6, 84 points, 37 wins in regulation or overtime. In fourth place, the Florida Panthers, 67 games played, 33, 27, and 7, 73 points, 31 wins in regulation or overtime. Fifth place are the Ottawa Senators, 66 games played, 33, 29, and 4 for 70 points, 31 wins in regulation or overtime. Then you have a tie for sixth place in terms of points with the Buffalo Sabres and the Detroit Red Wings. Buffalo played 65 games. They're 32, 28, and 5, 31 wins in regulation or overtime. Detroit played 66 games. They're 30, 27, and 9 with 28 wins in regulation or overtime. Both teams sit with 69 points. Last in the Atlantic are the Montreal Canadiens. 66 games played, 26, 34, and 6, 58 points, 22 wins in regulation or overtime. In the Metropolitan Division, you have a points tie for first place, as both the Carolina Hurricanes and New Jersey Devils have the same amount of points. Carolina played 65 games. They're 43, 14, and 8 with 39 wins in regulation or overtime. Meanwhile, New Jersey played 66 games. They're 44, 16, and 6 with 42 wins and in regulation or overtime, and both are tied atop the division with 94 points apiece. A distant third are the New York Rangers. 66 games played, 37, 19, and 10, 84 points, 33 wins in regulation or overtime. The Pittsburgh Penguins are next in fourth place, 66 games played, 34, 22, and 10, 78 points, 33 wins in regulation or overtime. Next are the fifth place New York Islanders, 68 games played, 34, 26, and 8, 76 points, and 34 wins in regulation or overtime. Followed by the sixth place Washington Capitals, 67 games played, 32, 28, and 7, 71 points, 31 wins in regulation or overtime. Then it's the Philadelphia Flyers sitting in seventh, 66 games played, 24, 31, and 11, 59 points, 23 wins in regulation or overtime. And sitting with the worst record in the NHL overall, the cellar dwellers of the Metropolitan Division, the Columbus Blue Jackets. 65 games played, 20, 38, and 7, 47 points, 19 wins in regulation or overtime. Over to the Western Conference, where the Dallas Stars are hanging on for dear life atop the Central Division. 66 games played, 36, 17, and 13, 85 points, 33 wins in regulation or overtime. A very close second are the Minnesota Wild. 67 games played, 38, 21, and 8, 84 points, 31 wins in regulation or overtime. In third are the Winnipeg Jets. 67 games played, 38, 26, and 3, 79 points, 37 wins in regulation or overtime. Fourth place are the defending Stanley Cup champs, the Colorado Avalanche. 64 games played, 36, 22, and 6, 78 points, 32 wins in regulation or overtime. In fifth are the Nashville Predators. 64 games played, 33, 24, and 7, 73 points, 29 wins in regulation or overtime. Then in sixth place are the struggling St. Louis Blues. 66 games played, 29, 32, and 5 for 63 points, 26 wins in regulation or overtime. Seventh place are the Arizona Coyotes. 67 games played, 24, 32, and 11, 59 points, 21 wins in regulation or overtime. And in last place in the Central, the Chicago Blackhawks. 66 games played, 22, 38, and 6, 50 points, and 20 wins in regulation or overtime. Over in the Pacific Division, the Vegas Golden Knights are trying to hold off the competition. 67 games played, 41, 20, and 6, and their 88 points are tops in the Western Conference. 37 wins in regulation or overtime for the Golden Knights. The Los Angeles Kings in second place are keeping pace. 67 games played, 38, 20, and 9, 85 points, 32 wins in regulation or overtime. Third place are the Seattle Kraken. 66 games played, 37, 22, and 7, 81 points, 37 wins in regulation or overtime. In fourth place are the Edmonton Oilers. 67 games played, 36, 23, and 8, 80 points, 36 wins in regulation or overtime. Fifth place are the Calgary Flames. 67 games, 30, 24, and 13, 73 points, 28 wins in regulation or overtime. Sixth place, and pretty much stuck there now, are the Vancouver Canucks. 65 games played, 28, 32, and 5, 61 points, 24 wins in regulation or overtime. In seventh place, and finally out of the basement, the Anaheim Ducks. 67 games played, 22, 35, and 10, 54 points, 19 wins in regulation or overtime. And taking over for the Ducks in the basement of the Pacific Division are the San Jose Sharks. 67 games played, 19, 36, and 12, 50 points, 18 wins in regulation or overtime. If the playoffs began tonight, the top three teams in the Atlantic Division would be Boston at 105 points, Toronto with 88, and Tampa Bay with 84. Boston already locking up a playoff spot. The top three in the Metropolitan Division would be Carolina and New Jersey, both with 94 points, and the New York Rangers with 84. All right, the tiebreaker as of right now in the Metropolitan Division would go to Carolina. They have one game in hand on New Jersey. The top three in the Central Division would be Dallas with 85 points, Minnesota with 84 points, and Winnipeg with 79 points. And then the top three in the Pacific would be Vegas with 88 points, LA with 85 points, and Seattle with 81 points. The two Eastern Conference wildcard spots would go to Pittsburgh and the New York Islanders. Sorry about that. There's something in my throat. The Penguins would be the top wild card in the East with 78 points, while the Islanders would be the number 2 wild card with 76. Florida would be 3 points out. Washington 5 points out. Ottawa 6 points out. Buffalo and Detroit both would be 7 points out. Then it drops off. Philadelphia 17 points out. Montreal 18 points out. And Columbus 29 points out. Out west, the 2 wild card spots would go to Edmonton and Colorado. Edmonton would be the number 1 wild card with 80 points. Colorado would have the number 2 wild card at 78 points. Both Nashville and Calgary would be 5 points out. And then after that, these teams pretty much have no chance at the playoffs. St. Louis would be 15 points out. Vancouver 17 points out. Arizona 19 points out. Anaheim 24 points out. And both Chicago and San Jose would be 28 points out. And that is a look at the NBA and NHL standings and playoff races through March 12th. All right. For all you college basketball fans, the 2023 NCAA men's tournament bracket has been released, and I have a video outlining all the first round and first 4 games. That's out right now, so you can catch that in case you can't get a hold of a bracket or anything like that. But yeah, that video is up. You can go ahead and watch that right now. In the meantime, like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Ring the bell and get notified every time I go live. Big Al signing off. Thanks for watching. Playoffs are coming. Get ready. Peace out.